Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've ever found yourself confused by a woman's emotions or unsure how to respond, you're not alone. Understanding emotions, especially those of someone you care about, isn't about reading minds. It's about building genuine connections and trust. Too often, men misinterpret emotional shifts, react defensively, or try to fix feelings instead of truly listening. But what if you could confidently navigate her emotions, creating a deeper, more fulfilling relationship? In today's video, we're breaking down 5 powerful techniques that will transform how you understand and respond to a woman's emotions. You'll learn how to recognize emotional patterns, listen in a way that makes her feel honestly heard, and create an environment where emotional connection thrives. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to build stronger, healthier relationships, without second-guessing her emotions or feeling overwhelmed by them. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end, because the final technique is the most potent key to emotional intimacy. So, if you're ready to level up your emotional intelligence and truly connect on a deeper level, let's dive in. 1. Understanding the spectrum of emotions. Women experience an ever-changing spectrum of emotions, shaped by various internal and external influences. These emotional fluctuations are not arbitrary, but result from deep-seated psychological, biological, and situational factors. For a man who seeks to build a strong, lasting connection with a woman, understanding these emotional shifts is not just beneficial, it is essential. A woman's emotions do not operate in isolation. They are influenced by her past experiences, environment, and even how she perceives her future. When a man truly understands this, he stops viewing emotional fluctuations as problems to be solved and starts seeing them as opportunities to deepen intimacy and trust. One of the first things a man must grasp is that a woman's emotions are fluid. She may be joyful and affectionate one moment, then distant and introspective the next. These shifts do not necessarily reflect something he has done wrong, nor do they mean she is unstable or unreasonable. Instead, they are a natural part of her emotional processing. Unlike men, who often compartmentalize their feelings and maintain a linear emotional state, women experience emotions in waves. These waves are influenced by everything from hormonal cycles to external stresses like work pressures, family dynamics, and social interactions. The key to navigating these changes is not to resist or challenge them, but to accept them with understanding and patience. A common mistake many men make is trying to fix a woman's emotions. When she is upset, he may immediately offer solutions, thinking that a logical resolution will bring her relief. However, emotions do not continuously operate on logic. Women do not necessarily want their problems solved now. They want to feel understood. When a man interrupts her emotional experience with unsolicited advice or dismisses her feelings as irrational, he inadvertently creates distance. Instead of feeling supported, she feels unheard. A better approach is to listen. Acknowledge and validate simply. Phrases like, "I can see why you feel that way," or "that must be really frustrating for you," show that he is tuned in to her emotional state without trying to control or dismiss it. Another critical aspect of understanding women's emotions is recognizing the role of triggers. Every woman has certain emotional triggers, specific situations, words, or behaviors that elicit strong emotional responses. These triggers often stem from past experiences, insecurities, or deeply ingrained beliefs about relationships. For example, a woman who has been hurt in a previous relationship may become defensive or withdrawn when she perceives a similar pattern emerging in her current relationship. An emotionally aware man does not take these reactions personally or respond with frustration. Instead, he learns to identify and approach her triggers with sensitivity and reassurance. Empathy plays a crucial role in a woman's emotional world. A woman feels most connected to a man when she senses he genuinely understands and values her feelings. This does not mean he has to agree with everything she says or indulge every emotion she experiences. Instead, it means he is present and emotionally available. When a woman shares her worries, fears, or frustrations, she is not necessarily seeking a resolution, but a connection. The more a man can provide this sense of emotional security, the more she trusts and opens up to him. It is also essential to understand that women experience emotions on multiple levels. There are surface-level emotions, what she expresses outwardly, and more profound, underlying emotions that may not be immediately visible. For instance, if a woman seems irritated by something minor, such as a delay in plans, her reaction may not be solely about that situation. It may be tied to a more profound concern, such as feeling unappreciated or unheard in the relationship. A man attuned to her emotions does not react defensively or dismissively. Instead, he gently explores what is truly bothering her, offering reassurance and a sense of emotional safety. One of the most attractive qualities in a man is his ability to remain calm and composed in the face of emotional intensity. Women are naturally drawn to men who provide stability. This does not mean being emotionless or detached. It means being a grounding force. When a woman is overwhelmed, anxious, or upset, a man who maintains his emotional composure provides her with the reassurance she craves. His steadiness allows her to navigate her emotions without fear of judgment or rejection. Conversely, when a man reacts impulsively, becomes defensive, or tries to suppress her feelings, it creates an emotional divide. Building emotional intelligence requires patience, self-awareness, and a willingness to grow. A man who masters this skill does not just improve his romantic relationships, he enhances all aspects of his life. He becomes a better communicator, a compassionate partner, and a stronger, more confident individual. Women are not looking for perfection. They are looking for presence. They want an emotionally available man who listens without judgment and who creates a safe space for them to express their true selves. Ultimately, the ability to understand and navigate a woman's emotions separates an ordinary relationship from an extraordinary one. When a man learns to embrace emotional complexity rather than fear it, he unlocks a level of connection that most men never achieve. He becomes not just a partner, but a source of deep emotional security. Someone she can trust, rely on, and ultimately feel herself with. He strengthens their bond and elevates himself into a man of emotional depth and maturity. 2. Active listening, the foundation of connection. One of the most overlooked yet powerful skills a man can develop in a relationship is the ability to listen genuinely. Not just hearing words and nodding while waiting for his turn to speak, but genuinely absorbing and understanding what a woman is communicating. Women do not just communicate through words. They communicate through tone, expressions, body language, and subtle emotional shifts. A man who masters the art of active listening positions himself as someone she can trust, confide in, and feel deeply connected to. When a woman speaks, she is not always looking for immediate solutions or logical analysis. Many men think that when a woman shares her frustrations, the best response is to fix the issue. While problem solving has its place, jumping to solutions too quickly can make her feel unheard. What she truly seeks in these moments is understanding and validation. She wants to know that her feelings are acknowledged, that what she is experiencing is accurate, and that she is not alone. A man who can hold space for her emotions without rushing to dismiss or solve them creates a deep emotional bond. Body language is one of the most effective ways to show conversation engagement. Maintaining steady eye contact, not in an intimidating or confrontational way, but with warmth and presence, signals that he is fully tuned in. Small gestures like nodding at appropriate moments, leaning in slightly when she speaks, and keeping an open posture communicate attentiveness. When a man looks around the room, checks his phone, or appears distracted, he unintentionally sends the message that what she says is unimportant. Even if he is physically present, emotionally he is absent. Women pick up on this instantly, and it can erode trust over time. Beyond body language, how a man responds verbally is just as important. One of the most straightforward yet powerful active listening techniques is reflecting on what she has said. When she expresses frustration, instead of responding with, "That's not a big deal," or "Here's what you should do," a more effective approach is to say, "So you're feeling frustrated because..." This slight shift in communication reassures her that he is not just hearing the words, but truly absorbing their meaning. It also allows for clarification. Sometimes what she says initially may not fully capture her feelings. He allows her to express herself more deeply by asking gentle, open-ended questions. Another key element of active listening is being attuned to nonverbal cues. Women often communicate more through tone and expression than through direct words. A phrase like, "I'm fine," can have layers of meaning depending on how it is said. Is her tone sharp? Does she avoid eye contact? Does her body seem tense? An emotionally aware man learns to read between the lines and recognize when more is beneath the surface. Instead of taking her words at face value or dismissing them, he can gently acknowledge what he observes. "You seem upset. Do you want to talk about it?" This not only shows emotional intelligence, but also makes her feel indeed seen. The most crucial aspect of listening is patience. Sometimes, women process emotions by talking through them, even if the conversation circles back to the same points. A patient man who does not rush her or interrupt to get to the solution is scarce and attractive. Women are drawn to men who can handle emotional depth and do not become restless or dismissive when the conversation goes beyond surface-level topics. A powerful example of this kind of listening can be seen in how certain men stand out in relationships. Consider the difference between two interactions. In the first scenario, a woman comes home from work frustrated about a conflict with a co-worker. She starts venting, explaining how unfairly she was treated. The man, eager to help, immediately says, "You should just talk to your boss about it," or "Next time, just ignore her." While his intentions are good, the response makes her feel her emotions are being brushed aside. She was not looking for an instant fix, but to be understood. She shares the same frustration in the second scenario, but the man listens fully this time before responding. He maintains eye contact, nods, and when she pauses, he says, "That sounds incredibly frustrating. I can see why that would bother you." He then waits, allowing her space to continue if she wants. There are no premature solutions, no dismissive responses, just presence. The result? She feels emotionally safe. She feels valued, and more than anything, she feels deeply connected to him. In relationships, it is not grand gestures or extravagant gifts that build lasting attraction. It is these small yet profound moments of emotional connection. A man who listens with patience, presence, and proper understanding becomes irreplaceable. Women may forget words, but never forget how someone made them feel. And when a man makes a woman feel genuinely heard, he holds a place in her heart that no one else can take. 3. Emotional intelligence, a powerful tool. Emotional intelligence is one of the most potent yet underrated skills a man can develop in relationships. It is about understanding emotions on a surface level and navigating them with self-awareness, control, and empathy. A man with high emotional intelligence does not get easily rattled, does not react impulsively, and, most importantly, knows how to connect with a woman on a level that makes her feel seen and understood. The depth of emotional connection separates an ordinary relationship from a genuinely fulfilling one. At the core of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Many men operate on autopilot, reacting to situations without fully understanding their emotional triggers. A man with self-awareness recognizes when he is feeling frustrated, insecure, or defensive, and instead of letting those emotions dictate his actions, he takes a step back. For example, if a woman pulls away emotionally, a man with low emotional intelligence might panic, send a string of desperate messages, or demand an explanation. On the other hand, a man with self-awareness will acknowledge the emotions arising within himself, take a breath, and assess the situation with clarity rather than impulse. He understands his emotions are his responsibility and does not let them control his actions. Beyond self-awareness lies empathy, the ability to step into another person's emotional world and understand their perspective. Many men struggle with this because they see emotions logically, trying to fix the problem rather than simply acknowledging it. However, emotional connection is not built through logic, but through understanding. When a woman expresses frustration, saying, "I just feel overwhelmed right now," an emotionally intelligent man does not dismiss her feelings or tell her she is overreacting. Instead of saying, "You shouldn't feel that way," he says, "That sounds like a lot to deal with. I understand why you're feeling this way." This simple shift in approach creates emotional safety, making her feel heard rather than invalidated. Emotional regulation sets apart a man who reacts with emotion versus one who responds with intention. An ordinary mistake men make in relationships is allowing their emotions to dictate their behavior in the heat of the moment. A man with low emotional intelligence might become defensive, raise his voice, or withdraw entirely if a disagreement arises. He reacts in ways that escalate the situation rather than diffuse it. A man with emotional regulation, however, pauses before responding. He understands that emotions are temporary and that acting out of frustration often leads to regret. Instead of saying something harsh, he takes a deep breath, gathers his thoughts, and responds in a way that de-escalates rather than fuels the tension. This ability to remain composed, even in difficult situations, is a trait that women find incredibly attractive. It signals strength, maturity, and emotional depth. How a man communicates during emotional moments defines the strength of his connection. Instead of criticizing or shutting down, he approaches conversations with a constructive mindset. If she is upset about something, he does not get defensive or try to prove her wrong. Instead, he frames the conversation in a way that fosters unity, saying, "Let's work through this together," rather than, "That's not my fault," shifts the dynamic from conflict to collaboration. Women are naturally drawn to men who can hold space for emotions without being overwhelmed. A man who knows how to navigate emotional moments with patience and understanding becomes someone she respects, trusts, and feels deeply connected to. One of the most powerful examples of emotional intelligence in action is in moments of uncertainty or tension. Imagine a scenario where a woman suddenly becomes distant. responding to messages with short answers and avoiding emotional intimacy. A man who lacks emotional intelligence might react with neediness, demanding an explanation or pushing for reassurance. This often drives her further away. However, an emotionally intelligent man recognizes that there could be many reasons for her behavior, and instead of reacting emotionally, he gives her space while remaining centered. He might say, "I have noticed you seem a little distant lately. Is everything okay?" This approach communicates concern without pressure, allowing her to open up on her terms. Women do not just seek a kind or ambitious man. They seek a man who understands emotions, both his own and hers. Emotional intelligence makes a man irreplaceable, not because he is perfect, but because he knows how to navigate the complexities of human connection. It is the foundation of trust, attraction, and long-term emotional depth. A man who masters this skill does not just build stronger relationships, he becomes the kind of man a woman never wants to lose. 4. Creating a safe and supportive environment. A woman thrives in a relationship where she feels emotionally secure, understood, and supported. Deep down, no matter how strong or independent she may seem, she seeks a space where she can be vulnerable without fear of judgment or rejection. When a man creates that environment, it fosters a connection beyond attraction, building trust, emotional depth, and a bond that stands the test of time. Unlike surface-level interactions based purely on physical chemistry, emotional security cements a relationship's foundation, making it resilient to external pressures and inevitable challenges. Many men mistakenly believe that providing material comfort or practical solutions is enough to satisfy a woman's emotional needs. While financial stability and problem-solving skills have their place, they are not the primary factors that make a woman feel truly safe in a relationship. Women crave emotional presence, the assurance that their words are heard and understood, and that their emotions are acknowledged and respected. Creating such an environment requires emotional intelligence, patience, and a deep understanding of how women process their feelings. Open and honest communication is one of the most powerful ways to cultivate this sense of security. Women often hesitate to express their deepest thoughts and emotions if they sense that their words will be dismissed, met with frustration, or lead to conflict. A man who listens with patience, who does not immediately rush to fix the problem but acknowledges and validates her feelings, creates a space where she feels safe to open up. A simple phrase like, "You can talk to me about anything," or "I'm here for you," can be reassuring. But words alone are not enough. His actions must reinforce his willingness to listen without judgment. If she shares something vulnerable and his response is dismissive or defensive, she will instinctively withdraw, choosing to keep her emotions to herself, rather than risk feeling misunderstood. Over time, this emotional distance can create cracks in the relationship, leading to disconnection even when both partners are physically present. Encouragement and reassurance are fundamental when she feels uncertain, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained. Women do not always seek grand gestures of love. Often, the small, consistent acts of emotional support mean the most. A gentle touch on the shoulder, a warm embrace after a difficult day, or even the simple words, "I believe in you," can provide an emotional anchor in times of doubt. The key is presence. Not just physical presence, but emotional presence. A woman can sense when a man is genuinely engaged in the moment with her versus when he is merely offering surface-level responses. Being fully present when she needs comfort solidifies the emotional connection and deepens her trust in him. However, Emotional support does not mean solving every problem or rushing in to offer solutions. Sometimes she needs space to process her emotions before discussing them. Many men, driven by a natural tendency to fix problems, struggle with this concept. They assume that when a woman expresses distress, she seeks a solution. She often seeks validation, the simple act of being heard and understood. A man who understands this respects her emotional boundaries and does not push for immediate resolution. If she withdraws momentarily, it is not necessarily a sign of rejection. It could be her way of sorting through her thoughts before she feels ready to talk. A confident man does not take this personally. Instead of demanding answers or pressuring her to explain, he remains steady, letting her know he is there whenever she is ready. This patience creates an atmosphere of emotional safety, allowing her to trust that she can express herself at her own pace without fear of being rushed or dismissed. Consistency and reliability are the foundation of emotional security in any relationship. A woman must know that the man she is with will be there for her in moments of happiness, uncertainty, and difficulty. Emotional availability is not about being perfect. It is about showing up, being present, and responding in a way that reassures her that she is not alone. If a man is emotionally unpredictable, warm and supportive one moment, but distant and dismissive the next, she will struggle to trust the relationship's stability. On the other hand, when she knows she can rely on him, he will respond with understanding rather than frustration, creating a deep sense of emotional security. Trust, once broken, is difficult to rebuild. If a woman opens up emotionally and is met with criticism, sarcasm, or indifference, she will begin to associate vulnerability with pain rather than connection. This builds emotional walls, making it harder for the relationship to grow. A man who recognizes this will prioritize making her feel heard and understood rather than resorting to defensiveness or dismissiveness. Beyond communication and consistency, respect for boundaries is another crucial component of emotional security. Not all emotions require immediate engagement. Sometimes giving space allows for self-processing before discussing feelings further. A woman who feels pressured to talk before she is ready will often retreat further, creating a cycle of emotional withdrawal. A wise man recognizes that timing is everything. He understands that emotional connection is not forced but nurtured through patience and trust. A woman's love does not thrive in chaos or uncertainty. It flourishes in an environment where she feels safe to be herself. Her emotions are met with understanding rather than impatience, and she knows she is valued for what she offers and who she is. The man who creates this space for her becomes more than just a partner. He becomes someone she trusts with her heart in a way that no one else can replace. The attraction may bring two people together, but emotional security keeps them connected. A man who prioritizes creating a safe and supportive environment will find that his relationship deepens in ways that go beyond physical chemistry. The strength of a bond is not measured by grand declarations of love, but by the quiet moments of understanding, the steady presence in times of uncertainty, and the unwavering trust that no matter what happens, she is emotionally safe with him. 5. Building stronger relationships. A genuinely fulfilling relationship is not built on fleeting passion or momentary excitement, but on a deep emotional connection that weathers time, challenges, and the complexities of human nature. When a man understands a woman's emotional world, he strengthens the foundation of their relationship, making it more resilient, more harmonious, and ultimately more fulfilling for both partners. Many relationships fail, not because of external pressures, but because of a lack of emotional understanding. A man who prioritizes this aspect gains an edge. He becomes not just a lover or a companion, but someone she truly trusts and feels deeply connected to. At the heart of any strong relationship is healthy communication. Women must feel safe expressing their thoughts and emotions without fear of criticism, dismissal, or misunderstanding. This does not mean a man must agree with everything she says, but rather that he must listen with genuine curiosity and respect. Too often, men either minimize a woman's emotions or rush to solve problems, instead of simply being present in the moment. A woman does not always need a solution. Sometimes she just needs to be heard, to feel that her emotions matter. When a man cultivates patience in these moments and resists the urge to interrupt or correct, he allows for a more open and honest exchange. This level of communication fosters emotional security, making her feel valued and understood, rather than ignored or invalidated. Empathy is the bridge that connects two hearts. It is the ability to see the world through her eyes, to understand her struggles, joys, and fears without judgment. A relationship thrives when a man acknowledges his partner's emotions, even when they do not immediately make sense. Instead of reacting with frustration, he asks himself, what might she be feeling right now? Or, what is truly at the root of this emotion? By doing so, he avoids taking things personally and instead shifts his focus to supporting her. However, genuine empathy does not mean self-sacrifice. It is about balance. A man must maintain his self-respect while being emotionally available. He will eventually feel drained and unfulfilled if he constantly suppresses his needs to appease his partner. A strong relationship is one where both partners feel heard, valued, and supported. Not one where one person's emotions always take precedence over the other's. Emotional reciprocity is essential for long-term connection. A woman cannot be expected to invest emotionally in a man who remains closed off or emotionally distant. Some men struggle to express their emotions because they were raised to believe that vulnerability is a weakness. However, emotional openness strengthens attraction and deepens intimacy when done confidently and groundedly. A man who can express his thoughts and feelings composedly shows his partner that he trusts her with his inner world, encouraging her to do the same. When both partners emotionally engage in conversations and interactions, mutual appreciation grows naturally. Trust is reinforced, and the relationship moves beyond surface-level attraction into something more profound. A lasting relationship is not built overnight. It requires long-term emotional investment. Consistency is key. A woman must know that the man she is with is temporarily attentive and genuinely invested in her emotional well-being. Grand romantic gestures may spark excitement, but the small, everyday moments of emotional presence sustain a relationship. Checking in with her after a stressful day, remembering the small details she shares, and being there when she needs support. These actions deepen a bond over time. When a man practices these habits consistently, he creates an environment where both partners feel valued and emotionally secure. Men often wonder why some relationships seem effortless while others feel like an uphill battle. The difference lies in emotional connection. When a man takes the time to understand his partner on a deeper level, to communicate openly, to practice empathy, and to remain emotionally present, he creates a relationship that is not only passionate, but also profoundly fulfilling. Love is not just about attraction. It is about two people choosing day after day to understand, support, and grow with each other. A relationship rooted in emotional depth will not only last, but will continue to evolve into something even more meaningful over time. Understanding and managing women's emotions is not about control or manipulation, but connection, trust, and emotional intelligence. Women experience a broad range of emotions influenced by internal and external factors, and recognizing these shifts allows for deeper, more fulfilling relationships. Instead of dismissing emotions as irrational or unpredictable, a man who listens, validates, and responds with empathy fosters an environment of emotional security. With genuine presence and engagement, active listening transforms conversations from surface-level exchanges into moments of authentic connection. Women don't always seek immediate solutions. They want to feel heard and understood. Acknowledging her feelings can be far more potent than a rushed attempt to fix the situation. Emotional intelligence plays a crucial role in navigating both your emotions and hers. Self-awareness, empathy, and the ability to regulate your responses create a balanced dynamic where emotions are met with patience rather than reaction. In a relationship, emotional safety is everything. A secure, valued, and supported woman will naturally open up and invest more deeply. Creating a space where open and honest communication thrives, where reassurance and consistency replace unpredictability, strengthens the relationship's emotional bond and foundation. At the heart of it all, stronger relationships are built on emotional understanding, mutual respect, and a willingness to invest in long-term emotional growth. When both partners feel heard, appreciated, and emotionally connected, the relationship moves beyond attraction to something significant. What do you think? Have you applied any of these techniques in your relationships? Share your experiences in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into emotional intelligence, relationships, and personal growth.